A grand jury indicts John Bolton, President Trump's former UN ambassador and national security advisor. Bolton has been accused of mishandling classified information, which he denies. The charges come nearly 2 months after the FBI searched Bolton's Maryland home. It's just the latest in several cases against critics of the president. When asked about this indictment yesterday, Mr. Trump said this.
I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Roiphe joins us now with more. Good morning, Rebecca. Great to have you back. Help us understand what the merits of this case are as they appear right now against Bolton.
It seems like a strong case. There are a number of counts, 8 different counts of illegally retaining documents within his home in violation of what is known as the Espionage Act.
And this relates to his AOL account, a diary that he kept, and things that you would expect a national security advisor know that they shouldn't do.
Exactly. So he looked like he was keeping an ongoing diary. He was then sharing those diary entries with with 2 individuals who are thought to be his wife and his child. And he was doing this on an unsecure server and keeping the documents also in his home, which wasn't approved for classified information.
And that's what makes this interesting and different, because it's happening in the climate of people who have opposed President Trump, criticized President Trump being indicted, when we look at Letitia James and James Comey. But this seems different. Help us understand why.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think, Errol, it's worth noting that in the past, before, this administration, we would just assume that the work that was coming out of the Department of Justice was legitimate. But given these recent indictments that have looked so highly politicized and concerning from the outside, it's worth now asking. And I think there are reasons to think that this particular prosecution and investigation are more legitimate. And those are, first of all, this began during the Biden administration before Trump took over. There was a court that signed off on search warrants. There's a court that said there is probable cause here. And finally, it's been proceeding in normal process. We haven't seen the kind of resignations of career officials that give us alarm in those other cases against Tish James and Comey have made us all think that something is going on there that has, certain political inappropriate motivations.
Bolton himself seems to suggest this is political. He says he's innocent. So what's next in this case?
Yes. So, I mean, it's not unusual that in a prosecution of a highly political nature with somebody of this prominence that person will claim that this was politically motivated. And we will, there is also still a possibility that there has been some kind of interference in this case, even though it looks far more legitimate. So we'll see all that play out through the motion practice that is going to look quite similar to the motion practice in those other cases against Letitia James and James Comey, but may end up playing out differently here.
And just in the last few seconds, what might the punishment be if he is found to be guilty?
He could face very, very serious jail time, up to 10 years, which for someone his age is essentially a life sentence. I doubt that he would actually face that. Something far less would be appropriate. Perhaps he would plead guilty, but we're going to see that all play out in time.
All right, Rebecca Roiphe, always great to have you here. Enjoy
nice
your weekend.
Being here. Thanks, Sarah.
CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane also joins us now from Washington with the latest on the indictment of John Bolton. Scott, good morning. Help our viewers understand, who might just be waking up to this news, what is in this indictment?
18 federal criminal counts, Errol, alleging unlawful transmission and retention of national defense information that, according to the Department of Justice, includes top secret classified information that Bolton's accused of sharing with 2 family members and keeping in his Maryland home. This criminal case will move forward at the federal courthouse in Greenbelt, Maryland, the one nearest Bolton's home, and the initial court appearance could happen as early as today. This is a case that involves classified information. It involves records between 2018 and 2019 that Bolton's accused of sharing and maintaining. But all of this is not happening in a vacuum at all. It's happening as the president is championing the cases brought by his Department of Justice against his one-time political rivals. John Bolton makes 3 in the last few weeks.
And Scott, Bolton says he's innocent. He says this is part of politics from President Trump attacking rivals. But as far as how the facts were laid out to share classified information in an AOL account, for example, help us understand why that is such a violation and how everyone in the intelligence community would be expected to not do such a thing.
This is a 26-page indictment that says in so many ways John Bolton knew he was using or transmitting defense information that was not to be transmitted and not to be held, that he did so knowingly. This case has so many differences from the other two cases recently filed against Trump political rivals. The James Comey case is brief and boilerplate. Very little is specified there. The Letitia James, the New York Attorney General case brought in Virginia. There's an arraignment a week from today. Very short, brief charging document. Both of those brought by political appointee of President Trump. This one against John Bolton is brought by a career national security prosecutor. It's lengthy, it's granular. All three of these individuals deny wrongdoing. All of them have court dates coming soon.
All right, Scott MacFarlane will be busy. Thanks so much for the update.